Anthro-denialism is the #1 secret weapon that the black hair salon and the Team Natural community use to drain black women of billions of dollars over 2 decades. For years, you were told that your hair was broken. First, the industry showed you heat, chemicals, and products that promised to fix you. And then Team Natural came along and told you the exact polar opposite. Salons, relaxers, combs, brushes, flat irons, heat of any kind, even some oils, all of these things were the problem. But here's the truth. Both hair salons and the Team Natural community bent the truth. And while you're caught in the middle, your hair, your confidence, your pride in being a black woman, and even your wallet took the biggest blow in this entire situation. Today, I'm gonna break down the myths that cost us millions. And then lastly, we're gonna explain why people are walking away from all of these complicated hacks and systems and walking into the arms of the right professionals. So let's get into it.
I am back. What it do, baby?
So, what is anthro-denialism? Anthro-denialism is the rejection of human mentalities, science, and expertise in favor of myths, hacks, rigid beliefs, or just plain old misinformation. And YouTube full of that. In practice is when everyday people ignore the professionals, the scientists, the data, or what lived evidence shows, and they grip on. And you replace it with what you see, and you replace it with what you see as a simplified rule, a hack, or an ideology. So here on the screen are just a few examples of this thing that we're talking about, anthro-denialism. Here are a few examples. So the truth, and in short, anthro-denialism is when you reject the truth about humans, our biology, our mental capacity, our impact on the human civilization, and our needs, replacing them again with myths, or like, oh, a little hack, or you're probably like, girl, what does that have to do with hair? Well, a lot. Listen, let's get into how hair care use anthro-denialism to make millions of dollars. So the hair industry's version of denialism looked slightly different than Team Natural's. Black hair cannot thrive with chemicals or with heavy products, oils, and greases. Sometimes I get in the comments like they used to use lard in their hair. You guys still swear by blue magic and all of these things. Why? Because the denialism back then was that even though God gave black women sebaceous glands, you are still not capable of producing oil, so you gotta add it. Number 2. So the new denialism in the hair industry came with Team Natural denialism that told you combs and brushes are bad, you should only use your fingers, your hair is dry, and the only way you can have moisture is if you add a bunch of water to your hair. So then girls start walking around with water bottles and all of the things. Why? Because they made you believe that in some way, some shape, in some form, you were somehow incomplete. That's the secret sauce. I can't make you move and hurry up and go do nothing if you believe that you're all put together. I have to make you believe you're missing something. So in both realities, both avenues, both women made all of these rigid and complicated rules instead of just looking at human biology, the way that our bodies are set up, and use the right tools and products dependent on our biology, like our porosity and our density and those things. But with anthro-denialism, none of those things matter. Your porosity isn't real. How many times and how many people told you that? Your porosity isn't real. Your porosity doesn't really matter. You're black, so even though it's like that for other people, it don't apply to you because you're black and your hair needs more. So now we need to know, why did it work for so long? Well, that's actually really, really simple. It gave black women a sense of community. It felt somewhat powerful and like to reject relaxers and say, no, I'm beautiful the way that I am, but I'm still incomplete. My follicle don't produce oil, so I need a bunch of grease. No relaxers though. No combs, no brushes. This felt radical, empowering, and it was cultural. If you a black woman, you need to look like this, or you're not proud to be black. Now, obviously, okay, we're not gonna do this anymore, but now we have a problem. We're incomplete. So here came this big avenue for brands and for YouTubers and all social media people to begin to draw in billions of dollars in this industry by selling you the fix, demonstrating and selling you the fix. But it wasn't full of truth. Every day there's a new YouTuber coming out telling you that they didn't really like the way that their hair looked and they wore their wigs all the time. And most of the time they would style their hair like that for the video, and then they would take off the makeup and put their wigs back on. They were not walking around with the fix that they were selling to you. It was all a marketing ploy. It was an ad. You just like, you know, you get that burger at McDonald's and it don't look nothing like it looked on the commercial. Same thing. Number 3 is the shift back to professionals. Why is this happening? Well, it's happening because people are realizing that even in between the two, there's that middle ground, right? The beginning of the industry that was like, you have to have a relaxer, or get it wet, get a Jerry curl, or wave nouveau, get all of the things, right? Then this time y'all think y'all doing something new, doing Gina curl. Girl, Gina, Jerry, really? Think about it. Every time you get on YouTube, there's a new problem with a new solution, right? Most of the time there are issues that y'all really didn't even have before you watched this video and was like, you know what, my hair do that too. And then you, before you know it, you're sucked in buying the fix to this problem that you never really had, which is why the products have piled up under your sink. But I digress. People are realizing that hair is about health, not all of these extreme rules and hacks. And if we're going to focus on health, we have to also find professional cosmetologists that are focused on health, because this crazy like shift and this double-edged sword, it was developed because there were legions of cosmetologists that were only in it for the money, using anthro-denialism to get you in the door and buy these products. And then Team Natural was literally built on that. So here's you in the middle trying to figure out which way to go. But then when you stop and you become your own guru, you become your own scientist, you can look at both sides and you can collect the things that serve you and leave the things that no longer serve you. And then almost every single time when you sit down and you write everything in your journal that you can get from me, shameless plug, link in the description box below, it's on Amazon. But when you write everything down in your journal, before you know it, you'll end up almost every time coming to the end game is finding an amazing cosmetologist. Is that hard? Absolutely. It may take a while. Sometimes it can even take months. But in the meantime, it's really important that you focus on you and do the different things that you need to do, whether it's take courses like one of my courses, the 7-day challenge or the growth cycle blueprint, getting ebooks, taking other courses. I mean, hell, even maybe taking a trichology course. I don't know, like whatever it is that you need to do to educate yourself, that is something that you need to do to bridge that middle ground as you're finding somebody that's in alignment with the new knowledge that you have. But the reason it's an issue is because both sides have been manipulating y'all through anthro-denialism. But let's keep going. Hair salons are being embraced because people are realizing that proper and more simplistic styling and regular trims create amazing maintenance that make it amazing and really simple for you to hold on to length. So many black women say like, oh, every time I go into the hair salon, all of the hair that I grew, I end up cutting off. Okay, well, don't automatically put that on the cosmetologist. What are your patterns between you going to get your hair done? I'm sorry, but if everything that you're doing is mini twists and mini braids and washing goals, yeah, every single time you go get a trim, most likely whatever you grew is going to be cut off, because those are things that are damaging long term. If you're a woman who's always putting oil and grease on her ends thinking you're making it stronger, yeah, most likely you're going to be one of those women that get haircut every time they go to the hair salon, and that's just what it is. But again, because of anthrodenialism, you believe that even though you inherently have a sebaceous gland, right, because you're a human, so if you have a sebaceous gland, right, which produces sebum that covers your hair shaft, but you're constantly putting oils and greases and butters on your hair because you believe that somehow you're incomplete, and the only way that you can have hair that's not dry is if you drench your scalp in oil or you drench your ends in oil. Yes, almost every time you go to the hair salon, you're going to get hair cut off. Absolutely. That is why I always tell you not to do it, because just because you're retaining length does not mean that the hair is healthy. Why? Because oil is a sealant and your hair needs oxygen flow, right? It needs oxygen flow, it needs sebum. It can't get any of those things. Why? Because it's sealed. Oil is a sealant. These are the things that you have to think about. Again, anthrodenialism made you believe you're incompetent, so you have to go buy all these oils and products. There's a new butter, a new oil every other day. Something like shea butter is a little different. To give shea to you isn't using anthrodenialism. It's not saying, oh, your body isn't capable. It's saying you're doing something that isn't normal for the hair shaft, which is braiding it. So we can use these herbs from the earth to protect the hair shaft as you are putting it in a form that is not normally in, right? So these are two completely different things. That's something that's going to aid you versus a product that's saying, hey, you were made incomplete, so here is what you need to fix that problem. It's a difference. The next reason that everybody's kind of moving away from the whole Team Natural thing is because it was cute for the first couple of years, but the older people get, they start having children, they get these different jobs, and they're like, I do not have an extra 3-4 hours to play in my hair. I need something short and sweet, or I don't want to do my hair at all. I want somebody else to do it for me, like myself. If you look close enough, you can see like where my tracks stop and where my hair is. So my wefts only got like an inch on me. They probably like an inch longer than my real hair, but even I am thinking about cutting my hair. That's why y'all keep seeing this side get shorter and shorter, because it's doing it for me. But I'm even thinking about cutting my hair because it's not something that's extremely important to me. That's not the only reason that people are cutting their hair in pixies, but a lot of it is because they're starting to see that a lot of their theories and hacks deal way more harm than good. So they're like, you know what, I'm gonna do something way more simplistic. Women are learning that real professional products, not just something to say professional products on the bottle, but professional products that professional cosmetologists actually recommend to you, because some professional products are booty cheeks, and I would say don't ever use them. I think some of those products are trash. I walk right past them in Cosmoprof. But using certain professional products will give you all of the things that you're looking for. When y'all are buying these products, when y'all are buying all of these products, you're looking for slip and moisture and shine and sheen. I'm telling you, certain professional products do all of those things for you. And that's why most people are converting over to professional cosmetologists that are giving you the proper recommendations. I also want to throw in there though that your appointment with your cosmetologist is not a consultation. A consultation and a hair appointment are two completely different things. So if you want to be taught something, then you're going to have to book a consultation, because it's very hard for me to concentrate on your style and concentrate on making everything perfect and giving you a whole consultation at the same time. It's not the same thing. So I just wanted to throw that out there, because people will leave that comment like, oh, I went to this hair hairstylist and she was amazing, but unfortunately she didn't teach me any new routines. It's like, y'all, if you didn't book that, you booked a shampoo and a flat iron. You didn't book a consultation. You didn't book a history lesson. You didn't book all of that. Okay, that's not a part of the job description unless you book it. I just want to throw that in there. So once you get a taste of professional products, you're like, oh my God, I'm not about to keep going and buying all this coconut oil and mixing it with these herbs. I'm not doing that, because now I can see all of the separation that they tried to make between consumers and professional products is crazy. Because not only is this better, I can use this one bottle of shampoo, this one bottle of conditioner, even though it may be a little more than the Team Natural products that I'm buying. I'm only buying this shampoo and conditioner once every 3 to 4 months versus buying a bottle of shampoo and conditioner twice a month. It's very different. So the coconut oil and all of those homemade products that you're making in your kitchen, they're losing their sting, and people are starting to connect it with inflammation from your dermatologist. If your dermatologist knows enough of your previous practices, they could connect that very easily with different forms of inflammation. But I'm really happy to say that the market seems to be in a self-correction type of phase where they're phasing out of the anthro-denialism as it pertains to, oh, black women need relaxers and you need this and you can't use combs and brushes, and it's going down more to women and men, cosmetologists and barbers, all focusing on the science, right? So that way our clients get a better overall example. And then you know how people like to say, oh, what works for you don't work for me, which is true. And yes, we can give you personalized care, but it's personalized care based on the way that the human body's made, not just on all of these different made up things, right? We all have 3 different levels of porosity: high, medium, or low. Some people have combination, right? But all 3 or 4 of these people would end up having like slightly different processes. Everybody's following the same styling process, right? But for example, I'm just going to use flat ironing for an example. Now, let's not talk about flat irons. Everybody booty cheeks get all tight when I say something about flat irons. Let's say roller sets, right? So everybody's texture looks the same, but one person's high porosity, one person's low porosity, and one person's medium porosity. Everybody can't use Nex's protein shampoo and conditioner. Everybody can't. There's one woman in that group who can't really use it. One person is going to work great for it, and one person won't really phase, right? But they all need personalized hair care dependent on their hair and scalp's profile. So these are the things that people are beginning to focus on, learning self and really focusing on the science of hair. And when you focus on the science, those herbs, those butters, and all of those things, they don't really have a place. They have very small and minute places. And all of the food that you want to put in your hair, everybody's learning that it belongs in your body. Where does anthro-denialism tie in, and how can you spot it so that way you know you're not being taken advantage of? So that way you know nobody's playing a psychological game on you, because that's what they've been doing for decades. Both parties denied the natural diversity in black hair, and they did that so they can isolate both groups of women and put them in certain clubs and leagues and teams to control the narrative completely and profit off of all of the things that you guys think you're lacking. They sold you the fix. They created a problem that didn't exist and then sold you a solution that they knew wouldn't work. That's how they would make money off of it. The truth sits right in the middle, right? It's not necessarily in professional hair salons, and it's not in Team Natural, clearly. The truth is right in the middle. People need flexibility, choice, and evidence-based hair care, not something that you heard your baby mama, sister, cousin Tracy's grandma with the clip foot used to mix in the kitchen. We are done with the rigid myths on both sides, because professional cosmetologists are just as guilty as Team Natural is. There are a couple of professional cosmetologists like myself that float in the middle and that have a holistic practice, but for the most part, it's a lot of dust on this side, and the dust is equal. Both have participated in anthro denialism, and a lot of them have been doing it unknowingly, because these are things that you just get used to doing. You just do it over and over again. It's something that my father taught me a while ago. It's not a super duper old term. It's actually kind of like on the newer side. Within like the 20th, 21st century, they start using this term or whatnot to describe certain things. I'll leave more information on my blog post, so we won't have to go too deep into that, because I know y'all want to hear that. But I don't think y'all understand that when it comes to like them selling you products and them making money, it's all a psychological game, right? It's the same thing with certain religions. They make you believe you're nothing. You're absolutely nothing but the dirt. You're a scum. You were born nasty. You were born evil. And the only way that you're going to get anywhere, or the only way that you can be made clean, is if you get this fixed, right? And I'm not talking about one specific religion. There's a lot of different religions that feel that way, but that is a form of anthro denialism, right? That's actually a lot of places where that's actually in the sense that I heard the term first when my dad was explaining it to me. And actually, he wasn't explaining it to me. I was listening to one of his conversations when he was at work, and then I asked him about it, and then but these are things that I really want you to think about. And if you were to go and search on YouTube like I did, you'll find a couple of other people that are more like on that side of YouTube that'll end up telling you about it. But these are things that I really want y'all to think about. Like, everything, especially when your money is involved, for the most part, it's not really what you see. Every blue moon, you may have somebody like me that'll tell you, yes, Simply Shea Bay is amazing, but this one jar is gonna last you a really long time, because a little bit goes a very long way. So every time you braid your hair, like let's say you getting a sew-in or something, every time you get a sew-in, you need like about a dime size, or I'll say a nickel size at most, depending on how big your hair is, because it's only going on mid shaft to ends before you braid your hair up. And if your weave is in for 60 days, it's only so many weaves you wearing in a, you know what I'm saying? There's only so many weaves you wearing in a year. So that one jar is gonna last for a really long time. But if I was using anthro denialism to sell it to you, I would be like, girl, you know you black, and you know your hair is gonna break if the wind blow on it. So what you need to do is get this product, put it all over your hair, then get a comb, get a brush, and start combing through, but do it real light. Cause you do it real light, cause you know your hair is real fragile and it's gonna break if you comb it too much. So comb it real light, and then after that, your hair is going to be amazing. It's gonna be silky, it's gonna be shiny, it's gonna be perfect, and all of the things. And are these things true? Will you experience those things using the product? Yes, but do you need to use it because you're a lesbian or because you won't be great without it? No, they're tools. And that's why I'm constantly telling you guys that products are tools, and do not be manipulated the way you have been for decades. So, in closing, anthro denialism explains how both the professional hair care industry and the Team Natural community bend the truth to get sales. First, to keep us chained to relaxers and chemical services. Then, to push the rigid, natural-only theories and demonizing everything else. Now, the pendulum is swinging back. People are waking up to balance, science, and intentional professional care. And the hair salon run the right way is back in business if you know what you're doing. And a lot of y'all don't. So y'all need to get it together.